chat, I can't believe I have to say this. I don't know who needs to hear this, but Fortnite is supposed to be hard. And I know that sounds like a very obvious statement. Well, of course Fortnite's hard. It's a battle royale. But I really, honestly, legitimately feel like people have missed the plot when it comes to Fortnite. You got to think about where we came from originally when the game first came out to where we are now. And listen, I know that things have to change. Not everything can be the same, but there are so many of these conversations about Fortnite's culture and how the game is dying or the game is dead or Fortnite's not the same anymore or the Fortnite's identity has been ripped away. And although I disagree that like Fortnite doesn't necessarily feel like Fortnite, it definitely hands down feels different than it used to. But in my opinion, if you want to know the thing that I think is contributing to this the most out of everything, the thing that I think is actually a mistake on Epic Games' part, the thing that I will deglaze Epic Games for, the thing that I can't stand, it's how cheap Epic made Fortnite feel. We're obviously talking about bots right now. We've had the bot conversation multiple times. I honestly want this to be my final conversation on this topic. This was spurred on because of something that Courage JD said on Twitter. I responded to it. I made a little tweet. And because of the interaction on there, I wanted to actually have a conversation with all of you guys watching. We put up a poll. I asked you guys, do you think that bots are necessary? Like, should bots be inside of Fortnite? 48% of you said yes. And 52% of you said no. That's with 54 votes. I know it's not a crazy sample size, but I think that's a large enough sample size to show how split people are on this topic. Here's my thing. When we're having this conversation, I'm going to be a little bit more aggressive than I was the last time when we had it. I was very charitable the last time I made a video about bots in Fortnite, but this time I want to give a bit more of my perspective and my opinion. And like I said, hit this from a different angle than I did before. There's something here that needs to be said. And it's gonna be very raw. And I know a lot of people are gonna be upset with the things I have to say, but I don't care because this needs to be said. The mentality of people has changed so much when it comes to what's acceptable in Fortnite and what Fortnite is and what people think Fortnite is supposed to be. But I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Let's dial this thing back a little bit. So there are a few arguments that I hear from time to time from the people that enjoy bots, from the people that like bots. A lot of people say, I shouldn't have to sweat all day to get a dub. I'm just trying to chill and have a good time. Why shouldn't I be able to just enjoy myself? If you want to play against real people, go play ranked. These are all arguments we hear all the time. I think even some people in chat have been leaving some of these, right? In my opinion, I think all of these arguments are weak because they completely forget and miss the point of what Fortnite is. People that are saying that main BR, pubs, is not supposed to be competitive are completely throwing away the concept or the idea of what a battle royale is. Battle royale is you versus 99 other people on a map. Only one person can win. The very nature of that premise is difficult. It's not supposed to be easy for you to get a dub. It's supposed to be challenging. If you're new to the game, it's supposed to take you weeks to figure out how to get a dub in Fortnite. The reason why, like, for example, crown wins don't really mean much, and they never meant much when they originally came out, was because wins were cheap by the time crowns were a thing. But think about it like this. The average Fortnite experience was you versus 99 other real people, and you constantly had to be fighting and strategizing about how you were going to push fights and think through fights because you were worried about dying or getting third-partied. It would make the crown win objectively more valuable. Imagine a world where Fortnite operates off of 10 to 0 bots, limited bots to no bots at all, and seeing a person that has 100 crown wins. Think about what that would mean if you saw somebody in the lobby with 100 crown wins in that model compared to the model that we have now. There would be a completely different, like, raw reaction, like, holy crap, this guy has won 100 games that with crowns, nonetheless. The 100 games that we know of by obtaining a crown. That's probably not all the wins that person has that season. That's just with crowns. That would mean something, but it doesn't because it's super easy to just get a victory royale. Now, here's the thing. Why is all this important? Why does any of this matter? It's because it's such a shift in the mentality of how this game works. Honestly, let me say this. The best argument that I've heard for bots is this. And this is completely fair. When you talk about professional sports, or really sports in general, they have different divisions. Let's use basketball as an example, right? You don't let lower level or average everyday like basketball players play against NBA players. There's a reason why college players don't play against NBA players. So let's say LeBron, Steph Curry, name somebody else that you like. I'm not into basketball anymore, but like think of 3 professional basketball players. There's a reason why you can't take 3 professional basketball players and let them play in a casual 3-on-3 basketball tournament for money. They would absolutely stomp everybody. That is completely fair and valid. The other thing too that I kind of understand is like the skill gap is so high in Fortnite right now that it is difficult for newcomers to just come in and just be thrown in a lobby with people that have been playing the game for 7 years. That would be rough. I think that Epic needs to do a better job of giving us a middle ground here. I could definitely agree with an option to toggle bots on and off. I think that should be the case. I also think that there needs to be another mode, in essence, bringing back Playground, but there needs to be a mode where people can just go in and explore the map. Like you should just be able to go in, load into a lobby. The lobby lasts for about an hour, maybe an hour and a half, and just run around and explore stuff and look at stuff. A lot of this issue does come down to Epic not providing the right tools or taking away certain things from us that are catered towards a more casual experience. Like, I understand why Epic has to have bots in the game. If you don't want longer queue times, you need to fill up lobbies. But something that one of my friends told me recently, our boy Stupefied, he was like, honestly, when I play other video games, I don't get upset at longer queue times because waiting for those matches is worth it. Now, that might be how Stu feels, and that might be how I feel, and that might be how a lot of you guys feel. But I don't think the average Fortnite player is getting excited about having like 3 to 5 minute queue times. I don't know if the average Fortnite player would be willing to do that. I do get that like longer queue times are an issue, and that's the reason why they have bots inside the game. However, I want to bring up a counterpoint to that. I was playing Close Encounters last week, and there were only, on average, I think 9,000 people playing the mode, but every time I played OG Close Encounters, I came across 0 bots. It was all real people. Even though I was dying, it felt so much more rewarding to play because I have to continually think about how I'm pushing fights, what strategies I'm going to employ when I get into the fight. Do I have the proper materials to get me out of the fight? And there's a lot of situations that I got myself into where I'm just going to die after my first couple of elims because I'm constantly getting third party. You can't be as aggressive when you're fighting all real people. But you know what? Even though there was only right under 10,000 people playing the mode, and the queue times are about, I think, 2 minutes, 14 seconds on average, if I'm remembering correctly, it was well worth the wait for me. But on top of that, just the experience of like actually playing against all real people, it changes your mindset. It changes, like the dopamine hit is different. Like when you die, it really means something. It's like, damn, now I gotta wait 2 more minutes before I can queue back into a game. There's stakes, there's weight to what happens inside of Fortnite. But when you have bots in the game, it's gone. All of that's just completely eroded away. Here's my point to bringing up Close Encounters. There were only 9,000 people playing that day, but I was able to queue into a match pretty much with, it seemed like 100% real people every time. If that's the case, why can't main BR do that? I guess there's more game modes between main BR and Close Encounters. Close Encounters was only duos, so that's why they were able to do that. But man, I really don't understand why Epic just can't make lobbies with no bots. If you can have a mode that only has 9,000 concurrent players, but it's all real people in lobbies. The same thing with OG. I don't get it. And maybe once again, it's because those games are split up a bit more than the LTM. But even then, it's just like, why not give it a shot? Maybe you just take away trios. Trios is the least popular mode out of the main 4 inside of BR. Maybe just take away trios for a while, which they have done in the past to keep player numbers higher. I do see the buzz, but we get more XP without doing challenges, but I agree with that. Here's the weird thing when it comes to that. This is gonna sound so obvious, but the purpose of challenges is for them to be challenging, right? Like, imagine landing at risky reels and opening 7 chests with just AI. The culture and the idea around that whole challenge, like the frustration, like getting that challenge done would have meant significantly less if it was just all bots at the time. People are saying, Clark, I don't like bots. I don't have time to get good at the game. I have a 9 to 5. The arguments for bots, I'll be honest with you guys, and this is where I'm gonna start getting a bit more aggressive with where I'm coming from here. But when I hear people advocate for bots, genuinely, it does sound like it comes from a place of entitlement. Now, I know that you're gonna try to loop that back and flip it the other way, right? Well, why are you entitled to not have bots? If you want an experience that is all real players, go play ranked. Here's the problem with that argument. When people say that, they completely miss the point of what ranked is supposed to be. Ranked Fortnite is not just about you fighting 100% real players, which, by the way, you can't do that in ranked either because the state of ranked is really bad. That's a conversation for another day. But the purpose of ranked Fortnite really is for you to prepare for tournaments. It's not for the casual player. And I'm going to be honest with you, this is the fault of Epic. They've completely ruined the culture around ranked or competitive Fortnite, which is why the player numbers are so low in those modes. I understand what Epic was trying to do. The head of I talked to the head of competitive Fortnite at the time last year. They have a new head of competitive Fortnite now, but the guy that was running it last year, he explained to us why the loot pools were the way that they were, why ranked was the way that it was. They were trying to incentivize more people, more casual players, to get into competitive, because the amount of new players that were entering the competitive scene was dwindling. The main people that play competitive Fortnite are the same people that have been playing it for the last 6 to 7 years. There's not a lot of new people entering the competitive Fortnite space, so they wanted an easier transition for players that play casually to get into competitive. So that's why you have all the goofy stuff in the loot pool right now. The problem with that is it ruins the integrity of what competitive Fortnite is. Right now, ranked is not a good warm-up for tournaments. It's too different from tournaments. There is no reason why there should be TIE fighters in ranked Fortnite. You should not be having some of these goofy ass weapons inside of Fortnite. Ranked Fortnite is supposed to be more rigid. The loot pools are supposed to be smaller. You're not supposed to have all the fun, wacky stuff inside of competitive Fortnite or inside of ranked Fortnite. But unfortunately, we do. So that's where this argument of, well, go play ranked comes from. That's not what ranked is for. But to be fair, once again, it's me trying to be charitable to people that are disagreeing with me. I get it. I understand where you're coming from and why you think that way, because, well, ranked has all the same stuff as pubs, so why don't you just go play ranked if you want to play against more real people? But that's not the purpose of ranked. Ranked is for people that are trying to get ready for competitive Fortnite, for Fortnite tournaments. And also, to be fair, there are loot pool changes. There are certain things that get removed or don't get put into ranked Fortnite. So if you want the complete BR experience of main battle royale, you need to play like the core game modes. You need to play main BR and main zero builds. It's such a difficult conversation to have because there's so much nuance to this, right? The other thing I think has a lot of nuance too is the people that don't like to fight sweats, or they talk about like having a 9 to 5. Like, I get it. I understand. You're trying to escape. You're trying to get away from the stresses of life. You want to go in, you want to load into Fortnite and just have a casual, chill experience. Unfortunately, and this is what you need to realize. 2 things, actually. Number 1, Battle Royale is not designed for you to have a chill experience. That's not the point of it. I really think that, like, the conversation about the culture, Fortnite's culture, needs to be emphasized here. That's not what the game is for, homie. You versus 99 other people, and only one person can be the winner. See, people don't get it, but like, that's what attracted us to Fortnite in the beginning. The fact that Fortnite was tough was what made it fun. That's why everyone loved playing the game during its during Fortnite's most popular eras. That's when the game was at its hardest. People love that. That's what makes the game mode fun. If you don't like being competitive or the competitive nature, I don't like how all video games have to be competitive. Fortnite was always competitive. And this argument of, I want to work a 9 to 5 and just relax, so it's not fair for me if I have to fight real people, rather than don't play Fortnite. Quite frankly, don't play battle royales. This is the issue that I have with these arguments. It's like the mentality, the mindset. There needs to be a mindset shift. Your argument is, well, why should you be entitled to playing real players? Why can't you change the game for me to where it's easier for me to get wins? But I think that there has to be, once again, a mindset shift here. I think the better question is, why do we have to compromise the integrity of our game so you can win more? Why should we sacrifice what the nature of the game is because you want to win? Also, why is you winning the only way in which you can have fun? Fortnite isn't fun just because you get wins. It's obviously more enjoyable when you win, but it's the story that it takes for you to get that win. That's always what made Fortnite incredible. Think back to the original days when Fortnite first came out and how the average person was not winning a game every day. You weren't winning a game every week necessarily. For a lot of us, it took us a month to win our first victory royale, to get that umbrella. Everybody was fighting for that umbrella. But you know what made Fortnite really cool, especially when it came to watching the streamers? You know what made watching the streamers so exciting? It was the fact that, damn, bro, it took me 30 days to get 1 victory royale, but you got 15 wins in a night? What kind of freak are you? Daquan dropping 40 kills in an era where, like, if you got 3, you were a god. That's what makes Fortnite exciting. But all of that's been ripped away. And for people that want bots in main BR, that's what you're advocating for. That skill gap, that natural difficulty, the progression, the story of you taking the time to actually get better at the game. And I understand. Here's a counterpoint to that. Well, Clark, I understand that, but goddamn, The building mechanic is so insane. There's people with 7 years of experience that I have to go up against. I don't have the time to invest into building. That's great, John, because there is a mode that was made specifically with people like you in mind. It's called zero builds, which I think is another thing culturally that people completely forget about. The reason why zero builds is a thing and why Epic decided to make it permanently was because the skill gap for building was so high. You want to play Fortnite, but you don't want to take the time to learn how to build? That's fine. Guess what? We have a zero builds. This is our more casual experience. Come play Fortnite zero builds, and you'll have a far easier time than you would having to fight against sweats with 7+ years of experience. Well, like I said, at the time when zero builds first came out, it was like 3 years of experience. 3+ years of experience cranking 90s on you, building a skyscraper and destroying you. Play zero builds. I was an advocate for taking zero builds out of the game. Go back and look at some of my old content. I was against the idea of zero builds becoming a permanent mode because I was afraid at the time of it splitting the community. Now it's the mode that I play the most. Ninja has gone on record saying that zero builds save Fortnite, and I agree. I was wrong. Shocking, I know. Oh my God, Clark's never wrong. Let's dial this all back into the bots conversation, right? Because now the argument you could make is, well, Clark, now that zero builds has been out for almost 4 years, zero builds is also pretty sweaty. Well, that's the nature of any video game that's been out for a long period of time. You think if I load up into Call of Duty right now, I'm gonna be able to compete with the guys that have been playing this game for like 15+ years? No. But if I want to play Call of Duty, I better figure it out. There's no building in Call of Duty. I have to figure it out. Any game with any longevity that's PvP based, there's no possible way for it to not be sweaty. It's not realistic. If you're gonna play a game that has a PvP mode, you're gonna have to go up against other players, which is what a online PvP experience should be. You're gonna have to figure out how to get good at it. And also, by the way, newsflash for everybody saying, well, Clark, I have a life and a 9 to 5. I can't be like you streamers and sit here and play the game all day. Homie, what do you think we were doing when Fortnite first came out? You think everybody that played Fortnite that made the game popular outside of the stream, you think that everybody that was a non-streamer back in the day was just unemployed and didn't have a job? People figured it out. Now, granted, the game was difficult for a different reason back then. And that's where I will be a little bit more charitable, right? Because nobody knew how to build. Nobody knew how to create skyscrapers. It was just like you were afraid because there were so many different ways for you to die. Not only there's so many different ways for you to die, but now there's like all these ultra sweats around you. And to be fair, even in zero builds that exist. Look, I have friends that have jumped into Fortnite as early as this year. And those people absolutely fell in love with the game. And I guarantee you, their experience is not playing all bots at this point. You're gonna start to get put in lobbies with real people. I think for the average player, it's not a rewarding experience to win the game for just killing bots exclusively. The thing I want people to understand is this, and I mean this with the utmost respect. If you're someone who's advocating for bots inside of pubs, you're not advocating for Fortnite to be more fair and balanced. You're advocating for a participation trophy. You don't want to actually play Fortnite. You want the facsimile of what Fortnite is. Fortnite, at its core, is a game that's designed to be insanely hard. You're not supposed to win it very often unless you're one of the best of the best. You're not supposed to be able to get insanely high kill games just being the average player. But you know what? That's okay. Because when you get your first victory royale, it feels amazing. Even for people that advocate for bots, I'm telling you this right now. I don't care who you are. I don't care how much you say you love bots. If you had a victory royale that took you a week to get after playing like 100, 150 games, and it caused you to get better, but two, you use whatever strategy, whether that was camping or being more strategic about what fights you push, you actually got better and ended up winning the game against a lobby full of real people. I am telling you right now, the level of accomplishment that you feel by doing that will far exceed your 100 of your bot one victory royales. And quite frankly, for a lot of you guys, I don't think you've ever experienced that because, like I said, Epic has made it insanely cheap to win the game. But I'm letting you know right now, objectively, there is no argument around this. Winning against 100 real people is just so much more fulfilling than winning a game with bots. Courage JD was 110 trillion% right. There should never be a game where I win because in the final circle, a bot dies to storm and runs inside. That's terrible. And even for players that get in higher elo lobbies, those events still happen. That should not be the case. Like, the best thing that bots are good for is like, they're just, in essence, they're like walking llamas. That's it. That's all they are. Getting a win with just bots, it's not a real win, bro. You've been lied to. This is why Epic Games has legitimately lied to you. They've made you think that winning with bots is a real win. It's not. It's not a real win. It's a participation trophy that you were handed because they want you to play the game longer. That's it. I love Epic. I still love Fortnite. generally speaking, I get into lobbies with a lot more real players, not because I'm ultra cracked at the game or something, but I just play the game enough. I get enough kills to where like not all of my lobbies are filled with bots. But that is one thing I will absolutely say that Epic does. They keep you in the game longer by giving you participation trophies, giving you the little dopamine kick, making you think that you actually accomplished something when all you did was fight a bunch of NPCs. Congratulations. That I know that that's very cold and that's very straightforward, but that's the God honest truth. And that's legitimately how I feel about it. Bots inside of pub matches are becoming a mainstay in pub matches is like, it's the ultimate devaluing of the core gameplay loop. That is, I think, the biggest thing that's wrong with Fortnite. That is the biggest thing that I just dislike from Epic. And I understand why they do it. And it probably to a certain degree, it is necessary. But damn, I really feel like for most games, there should be no more than 10 bots per lobby. Even if you can only fill a lobby with like 56 to 70 people, that would be a better experience than a 100-player lobby with like 70 bots and like 30 real players. Let's see what you guys are saying. So either have all bots mode or just remove bots entirely. I'd say both. Once again, I think this one legitimately is the fault of it. And listen, I don't want to create like some anti-Epic sentiment like, oh, Epic Games, oh, how dare they? Oh, they're a terrible company. It's not about them like being this boogeyman, this big villain that just hates you and is trying to ruin the game. It's very difficult to balance an online PvP experience, and I get that. But I'm with Courage and a lot of the other content creators. Let me say this real quick too. A lot of people are like, oh, Clark, well, you got to realize you're not catering the game for you content creators anymore. Brother, this is not just about content creators. This is what people understand. Like when you're saying that, like, if you don't want to play against bots, go to ranked. All the pub players, you know, that are just normal, average, everyday people, we don't have time like you content creators. We just they're not catering to you. They're catering to us. The problem with that argument is like you are ignoring the vast majority, a large chunk of casual everyday people that also have 9-to-5s that like the experience of playing against real people. You think that all the people, or even the vast majority of people that log in to play an online PvP experience, you think that those average pub players don't like fighting against real people? Only super chill base people that have 9-to-5s and lives, we're the only ones that like bots. There are so many average Fortnite players that want to enjoy an actual online PvP experience and get that true rush of having to fight real people. I am telling you this right now, I am probably so much worse at Fortnite because I don't get to fight real people consistently. It genuinely does. And honestly, if the queue times have to be a little bit longer, I think we just need to suck it up and just deal with it. I think everybody should just try for a week. Genuinely. How is it hard to appease both groups by making separate modes? That's the thing. I wonder why Epic has been so hesitant to that. I also wonder why like Playground isn't a thing anymore. The thing that I think I'm kind of split on is challenges. Like, I don't know if challenges should be completable inside of like a bot-based mode, because it kind of defeats the purpose of them being like of challenges. Like I understand people saying like, oh, I want to get my challenges done so I don't have to, you know, so I can complete my battle pass and I don't want to have to fight sweats in order to get it done. But it's like, brother, I haven't done challenges in years. Like I don't even do the challenges that come out every week. I just play the game and I max my battle pass out every single season. Even on seasons where I'm playing more this season, but in seasons where I'm playing like maybe a couple times a week, I'm still able to max out my battle pass. Like the XP system is so easy now. It's so easy to level up and rank up, even if you're only playing a few hours a week. Epic really does a lot to make it very easy for you to continue to get all your cosmetics and play the game. You really don't have to play the game as much as you think you do, because like the XP calibrates depending on how much time you've played the game, which I think is nice. Once again, I think the solution to this is have a bot mode and also bring Playground back and let people explore the map. They do seem like very obvious solutions. I think there is a way to appease both sides. And I'm honestly curious to see how many people would be content with playing like an all bot mode, you know? I do think that Epic needs to create a good middle ground. I think that that's like the big issue here, is Epic needs to do a better job at just creating something that appeases both sides. I think that things are more rewarding when they are challenging. And I know that, one, Epic Games is a business. They're not doing it for the morality or the integrity or whatever. I get that, right? And two, I understand that I do have empathy for people that don't want to take the time to get good at Fortnite. However, I don't think that it coming at the expense of the integrity of the game, I don't think that's worth it. That's why OG sucks now. It's not worth the integrity of throwing away the integrity of the game. That's really all I got to say about it, man. Subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. Chat and I love you. Come to a live stream, participate in a conversation with us next time. I'm going to read these chats and see what everybody else is thinking after the fact. But yeah, that's it, man.